Phoenix, mostly, which is not known for its great public spaces. And I went to college in Boston and just loved wandering around the streets and finding all sorts of the history of the details of stuff, and the kind of the scale of the city meant that I felt just like I was pulled out into these places that I wanted to be in. And to come back to Phoenix and to be able to be part of creating public spaces that people want to spend time in. So I always start from the context of where the station is. In this case, the station is located in a really interesting historical district. It's located really near the Big Mormon Temple and right across the street from a big park, and in the middle of a historic district of houses that were built in the 1920s through 1950s. So that gave me kind of a nice place to start, where I wanted to do something reflecting the history of the area and also something that felt like you were entering a residential neighborhood. The light rail was coming from kind of the center of Mesa and into home, and I wanted the station to feel kind of like an extension of people's front porches. And with that, I worked really collaboratively with the landscape architect and the architects on the station to get as much greenery in the station as possible, as much shade. You know, we're in Arizona, we need as much shade as possible. So I knew I wanted to do something about the history of the area. I had done another light rail station that incorporated history, and that was kind of the charge that was given to me. And Mesa is so much more complex than I thought it was. Growing up in Phoenix, I always thought of Mesa as like that suburb in the east. I didn't really have any sense of what it was specifically. And as I got to chatting with people, I understood there was a really, really rich, complex history of all these different groups of people that had come at different times. And I wanted to make sure that I was somehow evoking that. They're really proud of being a very family and child-focused community. And I thought, oh, that's something I can latch on to. And so I came up with this idea of telling the story of Mesa through childhood memories in the form of a storybook. So the station physically, the art part of it, are the kind of the centerpiece are these two big 22-foot cut steel panels that feature an image of a mother and a father reading to their children. And then in the station, embedded into some smaller shade panels, are what look like pages out of children's storybook circa 1910, 1920s, where I had the text of the stories that were told to me by people I met, combined with woodcut illustrations, just like you'd see in a storybook. I think the really rewarding thing about this particular one is how many people have very personal connections to it. When I was just finishing installing it, there was a woman who kind of popped up on the station before she was supposed to really be there, and she was looking around at the pages, and I started chatting with her, and she said that she had grown up in Mesa and that she felt like I had gotten it right. And seeing how the point of the stories was to introduce people who visit Mesa to the idea that Mesa is not this place that kind of exists out of time and place. It's a very specific city with very specific people having very specific memories. And I think that as time goes by, those memories are going to fade farther and farther into the past, and this is a way of connecting people at whatever current time they're at with what that place was 20 or 50 or 100 years ago. I feel like my role as an artist being involved in, especially in transit, is to humanize these spaces. That, you know, the main point of transit is to get a number of bodies safely and hopefully happily from point A to point B, which is really, really important. And if we can make those spaces also feel like some place that is home, that is meaningful, that is comfortable, that's what I want to do.